Hello, my name is Bobby, and in this video, we're going to be giving you an overview of ScriptRunner Connect, what the tool is, how it works, and how you can use it to create integrations between the tools in your software ecosystem. We're then going to be using a template to show you how you can quickly and easily create a synchronization between ServiceNow and Atlassian's Jira Cloud. ScriptRunner Connect is a cloud-based integration platform that gives you the ability to create connections to the tools in your software ecosystem, and then create scripts to facilitate the communication between those tools. By giving you the ability to write scripts, we give you the ability to create truly unique and powerful integrations using the tool's REST APIs to change and enact communications to get data from that tool and put data into that tool. So the first section of this is to create connections. So we have under here the connected screen. You can see I have a number of tools that I'm connected to, as well as different instances of those tools. When I go to click create new, we have a number of logos and tools listed here. Every logo you see is a tool that we support what we call a managed connector for. This gives you two primary things. The first is we take you through the process of connecting to that tool step by step. There is no guesswork involved. The second is that we maintain that connection for you going forward, so you don't need to worry about token refreshes, etc. It is all handled for you. We do also support generic connectors, which I'm not going to go into too much detail in this video, but that is our one-size-fits-all that allows you to connect to essentially anything. So just to demonstrate, if I was to select ServiceNow and give this one a name, so ServiceNow Demo. When I select Authorize, we begin the unique process of connecting to that particular tool. So if I get my ServiceNow instance and I just go and paste that in here, you can see that we get given a link to follow, as well as step-by-step instructions on how to do it. So creating an OAuth endpoint for external clients, entering this information on this particular page here. And then once that's done, you then get the client ID and secret that's generated by ServiceNow. So I'm just going to spoof these just to get to the next page because I've already got a connection set up. So I'm not going to recreate a new one. And then you click authorize and it connects to ServiceNow for you. In fact, let's do it actually. So if I go and add this information in, so under name, this one, I'm going to call this one V2 because I've already got one called this, or V1. Get the redirect URL. Lifespan. And logo. You then click submit. You then reopen what you've created. So V1 and get, as shown, the ID and the secret. Click authorize. This then opens up ServiceNow, where you say, I permit this to communicate with ServiceNow under my user credentials, authorize, save. And now we now have a connector to ServiceNow. We can now create integrations with that particular tool. So again, just to recap, any logo you see here will have the same structured process, obviously not the same details, same slight differences in the different tools, but the same thing in terms of taking you through that process and connecting to the product. Now, if you were to start from scratch, you would go to what is called a workspace. I'm just going to very briefly show you this view. Under the advanced view workspace, you have the ability to create a completely unique and custom integration from scratch. There's a lot of functionality and features here. I'm not going to cover them all in this video because this is a summary, but just to give you the highlights, we have a load of features and tools around here, but in short, you can have a script here and these number of scripts here, and these scripts can be executed in one of three ways, either manually by pressing the play button here, event listeners listening to events from tools and executing scripts when we detect them, and then scheduled triggers, having a script that runs periodically every day, week, second Tuesday of the month. So I can have, I want to go and perform this particular action now, click a button. I want automation, cross-platform, event listeners. I want something that goes and performs an action every Monday morning, scheduled trigger. Now, with the workspace view, we do have what we call templates, which are pre-built workspaces. So you can see here, we've got a number of templates available for you to use. Some of them are examples and some of them are full use cases. You can see under the filters here, we have 57 examples currently, but we do have some actual use cases. So for example, the one we're going to be looking at is a synchronization. When I select the correct template, so sync ServiceNow instance of Jira Cloud issues, I get taken through to that workspace view again, where we can see that this has been built out with a number of scripts, a number of event listeners, etc. And also a README giving you full instructions on not only how this works, but how you can set this up. When I click Create a Workspace, I get the option to generate this workspace with either the Setup Guide or Advanced View. So Advanced View would just take me through to exactly the page you see behind me in the workspace view that I just showed you, with full access to the code, so you can modify it, change it, etc. However, if you don't want to and you're happy with how it currently works, you can just go through the Setup Guide. The Setup Guide is a much more streamlined version. It takes you through the process of setting this template up step by step without having to write or change any lines of code. So if I go and click Create Now, this will generate a workspace for me with that template, and now I'm into the Setup Guide. So as you're going through the Setup Guide, you'll see we have the steps here. We'll just quickly run through them, and we'll also keep the README open on the right hand side. So first we need to set up the connectors. We do have a video explaining the connectors here, but you choose the Jira Cloud and ServiceNow instances you want to be synchronized. So I'm going to select our basic demo, and then I'm going to select the demo one I just created. When I go to API connections, this just gives you a review of all of the connectors you set up. And then we continue to triggers. So manual execution is not included here. That is wrapped up at the end for the users to press when they were ready to execute. Not that there are any in this template, there are none. This template functions exclusively on event listeners. So when something happens in Jira, we need to move that data over into ServiceNow, for example. So if I go to schedule triggers, you'll see there are none here. All the event listeners are listed. Now for event listeners, we have support in the same way we have for connectors that gives you the ability to just follow guided instructions on how to set that up for that tool. So for example, with Jira, what I need to do is click here, continue to webhook, and you can see we get full instructions. Go to the Jira webhook page, create a webhook, give it a name, put this URL into the field, make sure you select comment created, click create. So I can just follow that. I could follow those instructions here just to show you that is all there. The ServiceNow is a little bit more involved, but still is very simple to do. But it's also important to be aware while you're using this template to make sure that you know what is in here. So for example, you can see here that when I am creating the event listener for ServiceNow incident updated, I have additional payload parameters I need to add. So when I click to edit here, continue to webhook, well, we're going to follow the instructions. So we're selecting the incident table on the update operation, keep the default payload parameters, but add the following. So this is also useful. I'm just going to close this and reopen it. Also useful to note, you can open this in a new tab, and I can obviously then create a new window, which I'm going to just do over to the right hand side. So you won't be able to see this, but just for your context, I have this open now on the right hand side on my other monitor so that I can very easily access these. So go to update and then go and add these params. So short description. Let's get rid of the space at the end. Description. Urgency. State. Caller ID. And finally, comments. So there are varying unique changes that need to be done per event listener. So again, reading the README is very important, but once you've done this, click generate script. This generates a full script for you, which you can copy, and then you navigate to this script editor page in ServiceNow, where you paste the script and execute it. Now, I'm not going to do this, but just to show you what this script does, because we have the advanced section where I can go and show you, what this script does is it goes to the REST messages and generates a REST message in ServiceNow with a method pointing to a particular endpoint. And then it goes and creates a business rule. So you can see a number of business rules that have been created here that use that particular REST message. So if I go and look at incident created, for example, and then I go and have a look at the advanced section of this particular business rule where it loads. we can see that we have a script here, or if I go to advanced, we have a script here that is calling one of the REST messages that was automatically created. So at this point, you would then go and follow the instructions and you would go and set up all of these event listeners. I'm not going to do that right now because this takes a while. So I'm actually going to exit the setup guide. I'm going to go into a different one that has already had that, or those steps already completed. So if I just go and find this one, so you can see here that the triggers have been all, it shows them as incomplete, but they have all been set up. It just shows them as incomplete because I accidentally just re-clicked to that step. So I'm just going to mark them all as complete. And then I'm going to just do that really quick, just so I can progress to the next step. So the next step is parameters. Parameters are where you control the specifics about how your integration functions. So parameters are, again, this a full feature that is available for anyone who wants to write their own coded solutions. And the way we've used them is to give you the ability to, again, change these so that you can change the way the scripts work. So the scripts reference these parameters and make obviously different coding changes based upon those. A lot of these are pre-filled and available for you to edit and modify as much as you would like. Some of them are required. So you can see here, Jira Cloud project key. So I need to actually go and get the Jira Cloud project key. So I'm going to go to my Jira Cloud project, SnowSync, which is, that's the key. So add that in here. I'm going to change the issue type. I want it to generate stories. And then the ServiceNow admin email. So if I go and check what my email address on this account actually is, admin@example.com. So the reason we are adding these is because there is logic in the scripts to prevent infinite looping, where if the person who creates the connection makes an update, that doesn't get synced. Because if, as an admin, I create the connection to both instances and then I go and update an issue, which then goes update ServiceNow, which then goes and updates an issue, which then goes and updates ServiceNow, we prevent that loop. So there will be a check to see, and we'll see this, I'll show you it. It will check to say, actually, you're the admin and you created a connection. You can't, your information won't be synced. This is why when you're creating connections to your tools, ServiceNow and Jira, it's best to be logged into a service account, one that isn't actually used in day-to-day activities, but is earmarked to be the account that makes the changes under that service or under the ScriptRunner Connect service logic. One last thing we're going to do is I'm just going to go and check the workflow. Workflows there. Okay. So that's the parameters. So then, actually, sorry, I just got to check one thing. I'm just going to pause the recording while I double check this. So in the interest of transparency, I've actually gone and changed the projects that we're going to be doing. We're now going to be doing this SnowSync 2, primarily because the mapping wasn't correct, and the other project was a service project which had a completely different mapping, and it would have taken a long time to necessarily fix that all up. And instead, I'm just going to use this as an example just because it's quick and easy. So I'm just going to do a sync there, and then I'm going to change very quickly the field mappings because this has Jira Cloud issue status to ServiceNow, got backlog, selected development in progress and done, but my actual workflow is just backlog. So that should all be fine now. So once the parameters are done, I can continue to scripts. Here you have access to all of the scripts if you wanted to use them, but you don't need to. You can go and you can review them if you wanted to, but you don't need to. They're all there if you want to read them, but you can just continue to review, which gives you the ability to review the template in full and everything that you've defined, and then continue to run here. You get a notification to let you know that this will activate your integration. So this will activate all of the event listeners and start actually processing data from either tool. So I can click there, and then we get to the last page, which just gives you a summary of what is currently happening in the script, as well as the event listeners, so that you can see that. So let's actually see this working. So if I go to ServiceNow, I'm currently at the admin. So if I go to incidents and create one, This will not work because this is the user that I create the connection with. So let's just see this in action. So create new and put hello world and then click submit. So we'll see that ScriptRunner Connect will detect that event, detect that it's the same user and skip the sync. So just stop it right there. So let's say I actually create a Jira issue. So if I go to say impersonate another user. So let's impersonate this user and go to create an incident. So I'm going to medium and then put this is a hello world incident. When I click submit, we're going to detect that in ScriptRunner Connect. We're going to detect that it's not the same user. The user doesn't exist in cloud, so we're going to create it under a default user. You can see here, same user skipping sync. The synchronization doesn't execute, stops synchronization so that we don't have that infinite looping. But if I now go to my issues in Jira, we can see this is a hello world incident has been created. And then if I go to update this, now if I update this again, I'm the current user that's created the connection. So if I say hello and click save from the Jira side of things, again, we're going to detect that it's the same user, so we skip the sync. So if I go to the users of this instance, there is one that I have for Jira login as user. So this lets me log in as my other user. And if I go to, sync 2, go to this issue, let's just go to the full view. And I put a hello in here. Click save. And if I go here, we're going to see that that's been detected and it is correct. And it is the correct, it's not the same user. So that we now picked up an incident and we can see that Robert Bailey hello has been added there and the synchronization is now in effect. So if I now respond hello on here, post, which did execute, I pressed the wrong button, but it did execute twice. But we can go back over and we can see that's my problem, my fault. I messed around a little bit with one of the elements, but we can get the text and send it over. So you can see there the synchronization is in effect and the way that we can set it up without having to write any code. Obviously, the value of ScriptRunner Connect comes from the ability to write code. So when you want your integration to be unique, you can do that. So as an example that was given to us recently, was that a user didn't want the synchronization to take effect when the incident was created on ServiceNow. What they instead wanted was the ability to create a linked Jira issue from a button. So this is entirely possible. You create the REST message, you have the script that executes, and you just do a UI action. So in here, you can see we select to serve a project, we select an issue type, and then we can go and create a Jira ticket. We've already got a synchronized Jira ticket here, so we don't need to, but you can go and do that. So you can have custom and unique ways of making the integration unique to your particular business use cases and needs. I hope this has been useful. Thank you very much for your time. Have a great rest of the day.